Hi, I'm Debbie Whitlock. Welcome to Back on the Road. This week, Krista Michelman from Michelman Insurance Group gives us some tips on deciding whether to make a claim or pay for it yourself. I'll also be visiting with Chuck Oxford, owner of Lakeside Collision Center of Bellevue.
Hi, I'm Krista Michelman. As most people know, you will have better insurance rates if you don't make claims. However, sometimes you just can't avoid it. The decision to make a claim or pay for it yourself can be a difficult one. An experienced agent can counsel you on this decision. Here are 7 tips to making the right decision. Number 1, with auto accidents, if there are any injuries, put in the claim. Injuries are usually open-ended, and it's not unusual for a claim to go on for several years. Even if the other party says their injury is minor, I suggest you protect yourself and put the claim in. Number 2, if there are no injuries and the damage is minor, get an estimate. Don't turn in claims under or close to your deductible. Even a small claim can cost you more in the long run versus paying out of pocket, because you could be hit twice. First, losing credit for being loss-free, and secondly, being surcharged for accidents that are your fault. Number 3, when you have an accident, your insurance company will check your motor vehicle report for tickets. One accident may not be a big deal. However, if you have an accident and the insurance company finds 3 speeding tickets that they didn't know about, you will pay for it. 4, be aware that claims stay on your record for 5 years, and the insurance companies share a database of your claims activity. 5, with home claims, again, get an estimate for the repairs if the claim is not catastrophic. Pay for smaller claims out of your own pocket. 6, consider the claim may not be covered. Many maintenance-type situations are not covered, such as seepage, wear and tear, or defective construction. If you know the claim is not covered, you probably don't want to involve the insurance company. Just the act of turning in a claim will remain on your record. Number 7, take steps to prevent further damage. For example, if your window has been broken out in your car, take steps to make sure the interior stays protected, such as putting it in the garage. Again, a good agent can make a big difference when you have an emergency. I'm Krista Michelman from Michelman Insurance Group. I hope these tips were helpful.
I'm here with Chuck Oxford, owner of Lakeside Collision Center of Bellevue. Chuck, I know this was something I was guilty of before I had my first accident. I had never read my auto insurance policy. Why do you recommend it's so important for people to really understand their insurance policy before their first accident?
Well, it's really important because you have to understand what coverage you really have, what you've signed up for, because the insurance company is taking risk on, and you have to know what risk they're taking on. So that will come into the fine print of the insurance policy. So you want to make sure you've got key components covered. People don't think about it, but when they have an accident, do you have rental car coverage? Mm-hmm. You know, it's very cost effective, and rental cars can be very expensive, $200 to $400 a week, depending on the vehicle. And you want to make sure you've got the proper coverage for car rental insurance so that you get the equivalent vehicle. So if you're driving an SUV, you may not want to be put in a subcompact car. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure you have the appropriate coverage, because coverage is either by the day, which can be from $20 to $50 a day or more, or it can be one lump sum, for instance, $1,000. So you have to make sure you get the right coverage and the right level of vehicle that you want.
What about the deductible piece of this?
Yeah, it's very important that you know your deductible. When people come into the shop, they often can be surprised that the deductible is higher than they anticipated. And what we see too with younger drivers, they tend to have the higher deductibles. So it puts a financial stress on them. And so they have to be sure they understand whether they have $500 or the $250 or $1,000 coverage, that they can afford to cover that because that has to be paid at the time of the repair of the vehicle.
Anything else anyone should look for at that policy?
Well, I think another overlooked issue is people who are, some people are really into their vehicles, you know, is more than just a transportation mode. And part of the coverage in the fine print in a policy will be what kind of parts are used in the repair process. So there's what we call OEM parts, that's made by the manufacturer of your car. There's aftermarket parts, which is made by a manufacturer other than who made the car. And then there's used parts. And you have to be sure that you have the proper coverage to meet your expectations for the repair of that vehicle. So if you want new parts on your car, you got to make sure your policy covers new parts. Because if it's not, insurance companies tend to go toward the aftermarket parts and to the used parts. And we always recommend people get a certification on the aftermarket parts called CAPA, so that those parts, that's an organization that's trying to set standards for the quality of those aftermarket parts.
Perfect. Thanks, Chuck. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. I'm Debbie Whitlock. See you next time back on the road.